Hey, what is going on, crypto people? My live stream thing is saying it's an error, but on the other end, it's saying we're live. So hopefully we are live. We're going to get into cover some stuff today. I appreciate you guys checking in. Happy Generational Wealth Wednesday to each and every one of you. Got some people working in the house on the inside, and Miss Crypto Seas and running around. Um, Doing her work with her project. So, we'll just get it done. We'll do what we can while we can, that type of deal. We'll just do what we get. We'll do what we do. Get it done. Do I have my t-shirt on backwards? No. Crazy stuff in the crypto world right now. Flare Networks is hooking up with Polyhedra. What the? Polyhedra ZK Bridge. What's going on with that? We'll get into that. Flare Networks just keeps making moves. So it looks like they're going to be integrating that ZK Bridge from Polyhedra. That's some interesting stuff. SEC has lost their mind. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go through some stuff on X about it, but Wells notice. OpenSea, the NFT platform, receives a Wells notice. We're good. I don't know. We'll cover it. It's just kind of crazy. And I'm going to let you listen to a couple of people today and kind of help you make your own decision. Actually, there'll be three people, two macro guys, two macro investors, and one XRP YouTuber, on that know your teachers tip. Gotta know your freaking teachers, man. Holy moly. Let me see. Did it work? It's saying it's an error. Says it's an error on the stream. Let me go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. I keep getting an error in the playback. I don't know why. Gusta says Hugo's first testing F assets on Songbird. Well, there's some. I appreciate you checking in, Goost. There's some talk from Dan Rocky that they probably won't do the F asset testing first on Songbird. But I mean, it doesn't mean that he's right. But you probably know Dan Rocky. He does a lot of content around Flare, and he suggested that they won't. So that's interesting. But it's just his thoughts. His thing. You never know. We don't know if that's correct or not. It's an error, but that is his thing. That's what he's saying. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. Appreciate you checking in, my friend. Listen, happy Generational Wealth Wednesday. Mark is doing what it does. I was able to snatch up. Oh, Hugo said that. Oh, so Hugo after Dan Rocky. Isn't that interesting? Because I said yesterday, I'm like, listening to the interview, I'm like, I don't know if Hugo wants to go through another thing where he says something and then doesn't say it. So Goose is saying Hugo said that today after Dan said that. And on a post on X, Goose isn't on X. We can follow it. Man, I wish I would have said it out loud. I only said it to myself when I was listening to Divvy, and Dan. I wish I would have said it out. I didn't do it. I didn't. I said it to myself only. I don't think I said it in the video. I didn't. I shared the video, my live stream, but I don't think I was thinking it out loud. Well, there it is. There it is, fam. Hydro, what's going on, bro? Goose is saying that after Dan Rocky's video, he went on X and said they are going to launch F assets first on Songbird. So maybe that also means they're going to figure out some stablecoin thing as well. Well, that's good to know. I'll find that on X. I'll find that on X. Let's see. Join us tomorrow for AMN with SparkDex. Yeah, I'm going to hope to be there for that. Let me see if I can find Hugo's thing here. What's going on, Keyless? The lady of crypto is in the building. Hugo. I mean, it's not hard to find Hugo. So he clarifies some stuff. I'm trying to see if I can find his post. Oh, okay. In case there's any confusion, Flare Labs will be testing F assets on Songbird. Yeah, okay. That's the word. That is the word. That's good to know. Thank you, Hugo. So yeah, we're going to cover this Polyhedra integration. This is ZK Bridge, which is interesting and awesome at the same time. I know um, uh, the XRPL is looking for some ZK integration, and maybe I thought I saw some Polyhedra stuff with the XRPL. Did we see Polyhedra in XRPL? I thought maybe I saw that. I don't remember. Listen, we'll go over the numbers. The market's doing what it does. We'll go over the numbers for you guys for sure. Know your teachers, macro investors or XRP YouTubers. It was interesting. I listened to one of my guys today, and today is what, August? He's sharing pretty much the same information to a T that Raul Paul shared with everybody, not just to his wealthy people, shared it with everybody. 2-hour long video, sharing, helping to educate the masses, the unsophisticated investors, retail. Yet there's XRP YouTubers throwing shade at them. It's interesting. You got to know your teachers. Who are you going to listen to? I got to tell you what. Who are you going to listen to? I got some of that BTC below 60K. Was happy about that. Let's go over CoinGecko and take a look at these numbers, Keyless, and see what is good. I'll refresh this one more time. There it is. There it is. It's under 59. There it is. Should I take a little nibble at 58? I don't know. All right, so there it is, Sam. According to CoinGecko, the total cryptocurrency market cap is down 5% in the last 25 hours and is currently at $2.17 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is 54% or so. Bitcoin is currently trading at $58,903 again. And on the 30-day, it's down 12%. Ethereum is trading at $2,517 again. On the 30-day, it's down 24%. Solana is trading at $142 again. And on the 30-day, it is down 23%. So interesting. And XRP is at 57 cents on the 30-day. It is down 5%. Is this rumor true, or is it actually true about the Telegram network, the TON blockchain, rather? The open network blockchain went down. Is it back up? Anyone know? But I'm pretty sure I saw Jungle tweet out that Jungle Inc. tweet out that it was down. How did that happen? How did it go down? And why did it go down? I'm sure we'll get some more word on that. But that's the market. There it is, fam. It's the market. Look at my guy. The guy, another one of my guys, he said, he was going to make a play on Aave at 90, 95 bucks. He's doing pretty good. He's kind of winning there a little bit on his DeFi token narrative. He believes there's going to be a reemergence this summer. So he's winning there, just sharing some of the people that I listen to. Helium Mobile, my gosh, just doesn't stop. I mean, that's not Helium Mobile, that's Helium Network, Internet of Things. But that's the market right there. It's just, again, just doing what it does. Mantra, 89 cents. Down 23%. Layer one that is beating Bitcoin. Marinade, Solana, Gal, even with that, even with those numbers. And then Flare in the top 100. I wonder if Flare has been higher than top 100. Probably has. 0.15 cents. 0.15 cents. Let's go with Banner. Do we dare share this Banter Bubble thing? BAN, banterbubbles.com. We'll go over that. Did you get out? Okay.
He's going to the wrong website, so they go return the graph minimum.
Gotcha.
These
Gotcha.
are the blue ones, though. I'm pretty sure this is 1 gallon per minute.
Okay.
Time of throwing 1.5, so it's a whole
A little bit better.
50% bigger.
Perfect. Thank you, man.
It's a metal deposit, though.
Okay.
The line up here is so bad.
Yes, brutal. Yeah, it doesn't take long to
Yeah,
clog it up.
that's why the toilet was also doing what it was doing.
Mm.
Up inside of the inlet.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, man. All right. So what do we got? What do we got here? I mean, the usual players are out doing BTC. This is bannerbubbles.com. These are assets outperforming Bitcoin year to date. And you still got the three main meme coins. Again, my thing is that the assets that are outperforming Bitcoin year to date will probably do so throughout the remainder of the bull run. We'll see, but that's kind of how I see it. Now there's four meme coins. There's Brett that's on base. There's Whiff that is on Solana. There's Popcat. I don't know where it is, how it is, who it is. There's Bonk that is on Solana. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 meme coins with 4-figure percentage gains better versus Bitcoin on the year, outperforming Bitcoin. And of course, there's Pepe down here as a meme coin. And Floki. So that's 6 meme coins. There's Floki right here, bottom right. 294% on the year up. Now, I don't know if anyone was fortunate enough to be in these and to take advantage of these, but I hope there was a bunch of regular folks, average Joe and James, who didn't listen to XRP YouTubers discrediting the meme coin narrative. So that's pretty cool. All right, now let's go over to 100% some more. My gosh. Floki, meme coin. Pepe, meme coin, 284%. Andu down here in the bottom, 106%. Fetch, AI play over here, 164% FET. Solana, 207%. And my question to you is maybe you want to ask yourself, do you own any of these? Now, are there things that are like 70% on the year up, 60% on the year up? Yeah. You got Helium Network over here, the Internet of Things play. They got a whole, they you know, subset of that is Helium Mobile. They got a bunch of stuff going over there. That's 87%, right? You got Nia Protocol at 62% positive. I'm just covering 100% some more just to let you know. So Solana, Fetch, BitTensor up here at the top left at 124%. Kaspa is up now over 100% again. It keeps going in and out of 100%, but there it is at 101%. Sats is a BTC play. Oh, I forgot to cover that. That's 4 figures at 2007, 4%. Let's see, any more 100%? Jasmine coin over here, barely getting in, 148%. And again, we own some Jasmine coin. We own Andu, right? Kind of blessed to own Solana as well. So it's just kind of my thesis. We'll see if it plays out. All right, let me say hey to some more people in the chat. And then we're going to get into this interesting news coming from Flare Networks about Polyhedra, the ZK Bridge. Keela says, yes, Jungle posted an update 6 hours later. It is back up. Okay, 6 hours later, it's back up. Something about mean dog token trade surge. Oh, boy, okay. Look at that. A surge in activity slows down a chain. Everyone going to give up on it? Everyone going to say, oh, but it does this. Everybody going to negate the huge gains for average retail folks by being early to TON and investing in the token? Or are they going to throw shade on it because it went down because of this thing? Rafi's in the building. What's going on, Rafi? How are you, my friend? I appreciate you checking in. So let's go over the news. Let's go over Crypto X, and then I'm going to go over Polyhedra's Play Networks news. So let's do this. Go over some of the stuff on X so we can close out those tabs. There's some of the SEC stuff. So Devin Finzer, OpenSea has received he's the co-founder of OpenSea. Devin Finzer put this out. OpenSea has received, huh? Yeah, he's got to go get another thing, yeah. OpenSea has received a Wells notice from the SEC threatening to sue us because they believe NFTs on our platform are securities. We're shocked the SEC would make such a sweeping move against creators and artists, says Devin, but we're ready to stand up and fight. Cryptos have long been in the crosshairs of the SEC, and companies like Coinbase, Uniswap, Robinhood, Kraken, and Consensus have been fighting against the SEC's single-track approach of regulation by enforcement. But this is a move into uncharted territory. By targeting NFTs, the SEC would stifle innovation on an even broader scale. Hundreds of thousands of online artists and creators are at risk, and many do not have the resources to defend themselves. NFTs are fundamentally creative goods, art, collectibles, video games, items, domain names, event tickets, and more. We should not regulate digital art in the same way we regulate collateralized debt obligations. As we built OpenSea, we've heard so many stories about the impact of NFTs on people's lives, including blah, 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 blah. In addition to standing our own ground, we're pledging $5 million to help cover legal fees for NFT creators and devs that receive a Wells notice. Every creator, big or small, should be able to innovate without fear. I hope the SEC will come to a sense sooner rather than later, and that they'll listen with an open mind. Until then, we'll stand up and fight for our industry. Onwards. Yeah, I thought about this too, why they didn't mention Ripple in there. Anyway, Tyler Winklevoss reposted it. The SEC is now trying to claim the entities as security. What's next? Baseball cards, comic books, Gary Gensler's bad faith, and un-American war on crypto is expanding. Digital Web3 creators and artists are now in the crosshairs. It's a little alarming, but he's got a mandate. He's got a mandate from the current administration. I'm just still shocked that people are still considering anyone in that administration. It's alarming. I'm talking about crypto people, digital asset people. I don't understand it, but hey, I guess one of the great things about the country is you get to choose who you want to choose. Jake Chervinsky of, I thought he was part of a group, Blockchain Association. Oh, it says ex-Blockchain Association. I guess he's not there anymore. The SEC has fully lost the plot. The idea that a financial markets regulator established in the 1930s would have jurisdiction over digital art in the 2020s defies not only common sense, but also the SEC's statutory authority. Thanks to OpenSea for fighting the good fight. Caitlin Long said something here that I think is open as well. It's important to note as well. Cameron Winklevoss said the quote-unquote reset with crypto has turned into an expansion of the war on crypto. You got to get that. If they really wanted to do something, they would be halting some stuff. I'm not even going to get into the whole idea of RFK asking to take his name off these ballots, and they're deciding to keep him on against his will. Caitlin Long said, this is correct. Cameron, I can add that the federal banking regulators crackdown has expanded as well, including an action taken by the Fed just last week against a bank that's banking the law-abiding crypto industry. The Warren crowd is still in charge and wants us all dead. It's kind of lunacy. Jungle Inc. had an interesting point too as well. I hear some in the crypto space blindly trusting that the Harris administration will be more crypto friendly. If she can't be bothered to address the issue, I'm not sure why we should believe that. Crypto should work for both sides, but we need clear policy. Blind trust is out. I agree. I agree 100%. All right, so I'm supposed to be closing some stuff. All right, let's close that. Close that. Close that. Yeah, okay. So let's go over the news from Flare Networks. I think it's pretty cool, Keyless. I think it's pretty cool. Flare will soon be integrated with Polyhedra's ZK Bridge. The ZK Bridge Eco integration boosts Flare's cross-chain security using zero-knowledge proof, ensuring strong safety and liveliness guarantees. As a layer 0 labs V2 DVN, Poly, which is a decentralized verifier network, a DVN, Polyhedra further strengthens the integration of layer 0 with Flare. I think this is a big, very important move, my friends. Alex Yeats in the building. What's going on, bro? Yosef is here. Yeah, blind trust is out of the picture. Indeed, it is. Just, I don't understand. People just don't get it. Yeah, they got to think the bigger picture, man. Keela said, but did you guys hear about the UAE blocking fighter jet purchases of France because of the Telegram CEO debacle? No, I didn't hear about that. I did not hear about that. It's interesting. The UAE is going to get involved. That's interesting. Joseph says we got to think about more than crypto when voting. You know? I've been listening to Tom McDonald a lot lately, the Canadian rapper. Yeah, some very interesting songs out there. I enjoy them. Love his perspective. Absolutely love his perspective. So that's it. That's some big news for Flare, I think. That integration is absolutely big. Absolutely big. I'm going to share something from Raoul Paul. And I think it's hugely important just to kind of get a bigger picture, right? You know, we talk about on this channel all the time, it's important to know your teachers. Remember, we shared the video of Robert Kiyosaki being interviewed. And it's something that he had learned. He was taught by his mentor. And that was to know your teachers, right? Let me see here. Let me see here. I think I'm going to go history and go to Raoul Paul's first. So it was the Everything Code. It was a 2-hour and 15-minute live stream. I listened to the whole thing. I've been through this more than once already. So let me go here. Let me share something with you guys.
Secular trends.
I'm going to play this. The chapter is titled Business Cycle and Liquidity. So we're going to start there. Business cycle and liquidity. Then I'm going to share my other guy, Dennis, who is today essentially echoing the exact same thing that Raoul Paul said. Now, Dennis is a VC. He's an angel investor, over 100 startups, you know, okay? Just to make my point. All right, so business cycle and liquidity is just kind of where it's chaptered, the title of this chapter. And I want the guys to listen to the family office thing, see if you catch what he says here.
You know, although I've done business cycle for years, what I've been really good at is the secular thesis and solving the bigger puzzles and how it all fits together. And that kind of magic's come together. And that's what we're going to try and present to you now. So I'm going to kick off this presentation and we'll flip between Julian and I as we go through.
Oh, before that, let me share another thing about the success of the thing that he's been doing for 20 years, 20 plus years. All right, let me share that real quick. Let's go here first.
Thinking. Everything that you guys see of me comes from this genesis. This is where all of the thinking, it's what started Real Vision. It's what started the asset management business. It's what started all the things you see on Twitter, even on YouTube. They all come from one thing, GMI, which I'm immensely proud of. It also happens without kind of doing a sales pitch. Over time, it's easily had the best track record because we have a recorded positions every month. And we've been doing that for 20 years. Probably the best track record of any research service in the world, bar none. And it's all recorded, which I'm immensely proud of. And it's come with some shit years as well. So it's not like I'm a hero and get everything right. But over time, using a long-term time horizon, using a structure of secular trends, plus the business cycle, I've really managed to do something I think unique. There's nothing like GMI, nothing at all even looks remotely like it in terms of the
#1 research person in terms of calls in the global picture. Bar none. That's why Dan Tapiero and other hedge fund managers subscribe to it. All right, so let's get back here to the business cycle.
You know, although I've done business cycle for years, what I've been really good at is the secular thesis and solving the bigger puzzles and how it all fits together. And that kind of magic's come together. And that's what we're going to try and present to you now. So I'm going to kick off this presentation and we'll flip between Julian and I as we go through the bits that we kind of focus on, even though both of us focus on everything. And I'm trying to stress that this is 30 years of work here. It's not complete because it's just not enough time because we could probably do 4 or 5 hours on the kind of work that we've done. But I think it's going to help you guys a lot in understand the world. And you've seen all bits of it, but you've never seen it all together. So we're going to put it all together now. It's minus the exponential age thesis because we just don't have time to go through all of the technological disruption as well. But when I use tech and NASDAQ in the presentation, you can think exponential age as well, although the exponential age should outperform NASDAQ over time. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and get cracking. Hey everyone, listen, if you want to unfuck your future, let me help you. Follow this channel, subscribe, click the notifications, and you'll get everything as soon as it comes out. See you there. I made this presentation, or parts of this presentation, recently to a group of family offices.
I made this presentation recently to a group of family offices. Right? You understand the kind of, right? The people that come in, have him in, you know, in addition to the hedge funds. And it's not about him getting a call right or wrong. It's that he's made enough of the right calls. He's got the most successful global macro newsletters, nothing like it for calls. And he's sharing this same presentation that he shares with high net worth individuals. And he's sharing it with retail in the digital asset space. You understand? Let's continue.
Most people don't realize diversification is dead. Many of you have seen the thesis like irresponsibly long, or hear that I'm 100% long Solana, whatever it may be. And it sounds like this is a crazy idea. What the fuck is Raoul doing? Isn't he being responsible? But it's not. It's based on an understanding that I'm going to go through why diversification is dead and why concentrated risk-taking in the greatest macro trend of all time is the way forward, as long as you do it intelligently, which is part of this don't fuck this up thesis of how to do this intelligently. Julian was unfortunately ruined by me. He came as this diversified asset allocation guy, and he's ended up being a total fucking degen as well. Because you can't not conclude this. And by the time we go through the presentation, you will get there as well. I'm going to start with a chart that most of you have kind of seen me talk about, and you're going to really understand why it matters. I mean, I tried to put this together in tweet threads. I try and put it together for ways for you to understand, but this is going to give you the full understanding. Liquidity is everything. It is increasing on a globalized level at 8% a year. This is the global hurdle to all investments that you make. Anything that doesn't beat this is actually making your future self poorer. You can also add in, let's say 4%, 3 or 4% global inflation. So you've got a 12% hurdle rate. That is staggeringly difficult to beat. But if you don't, your asset allocation is going to make your future self poorer. And that is the big deal that we've got. The thesis that I'm about to outline is also based on the fact that once I started digging into the debasement trends, I realized there is two and only two massive secular trends in the world. One is cryptocurrency. This is the log chart of Bitcoin, which over time, as we know, has
Two macro trends in the world. There's only two in the world. And crypto is one of the two. And this is part of the presentation that he's making to high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals.
produced since 2012 alone 20 million% returns. No asset has ever come close to this in all recorded history. The other mega trend, it's such a beautiful exponential trend, is the NASDAQ. Since 2008, it's been a perfect trend. These are secular trends that are outperforming everything. They're based on adoption curves and technology, plus flow of capital. Because they outperform, they tend to outperform more. But I'll come on to the importance of these. But these are the two key assets that matter to me when I'm talking about portfolio allocation, because everything else, as you'll see, is actually secondary.
Secondary. I think he said the Bitcoin thing, the crypto Bitcoin, whatever, 2 million% return, 2 million%. I think he said 2 million, not 20 million. Maybe he said 20 million. Let me go back. Let's see what he says.
12 alone, 20 million% returns.
20 million% return. It's only two, the NASDAQ and the digital asset space. And what he's saying is, when he says diversification is dead, he's talking about being in crypto, being in the NASDAQ, being in bonds, being in treasuries, being in the S&P 500, owning real estate, having gold. That's what he's talking about. He's saying it's about being in a concentrated risk play. And in that concentrated risk play, he says it's the top coins for 90% of your allocation. He chose the top coins that had a year-over-year return, a positive year-over-year return. Those were Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana for the 90% allocation, because the numbers are the numbers. Is it and Maker's in there as well, but he chose Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. He did not choose Maker, but Maker is in there. We've done the numbers into the cryptoverse. We've added other assets to see if they might fit in there. Well, maybe he just only looked at the top 10. Maker maybe it's not in the top 10. Probably isn't. And then he said the other 10%, you can go down the risk curve. That's his suggestion. It's the same suggestion that he's making to the high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals. Like Dan Tapiero, who runs a, successful hedge fund now in the digital asset space, a big time global trader. You understand? Let me get to the chat here, see if some more people came on, and then I'll share why I'm sharing this. Jungle Link's in the building. What's going on, brother? How are you? Keelan said, yep, contract for 80 fighter jets. They are getting involved. It's nice to see when some stand up against tyranny. I agree. Good for the UAE, who happen to be fans of the digital asset space. What's going on, Jungle? How are you, bro? Joseph said, yeah, he's on point. Talking about Raul Paul. Keelis, you're welcome. Pookie is in the building. How are you, bro? Listen, right? So I bring this up for a reason, because it's so massively important to know your teachers. You have, and what I learned early on is you have to know the game you're in. You got to know the ins and the outs, the good, the bad, the ugly. You got to become engrossed in the game you're in. Too many people in digital asset space, especially XRP holders, are listening to people they shouldn't be listening to. If you want to become a sophisticated investor, a high net worth individual, or ultra high net worth individual, you got to listen to the people that they're listening to. Not get offended because a guy who's had a track record of winning says, don't miss the bull run. Are you going to get offended and all up in your feelings about it? Are you going to apply the principle of discernment that says, I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm good. Not get all up in your feelings, calling people names and dirt bags and all this other kind of stuff. And not tuning in. Find a voice of value. Find a voice of value. Tune in and stay for a while. You understand what I'm saying? Highly recommend you check out that video. Highly recommend you check it out. Listen to it a couple of times. Get on the realvision.com/join. It's free. Then, after getting enough value from all the free stuff, you can make a decision if you want to do some paid thing. Right? I'm going to leave it there. Again, he's sharing the idea of debasement. He's sharing the hurdle rate of 12%. He's sharing the idea concept that if that dirty, nasty fiat of yours is allocated in the wrong spots, that is not outpacing this 12% hurdle, that's the issue. Both he and people like Dan Tapiero have said, Novogratz have said that the digital asset, right? Remember, there's only two. There's the digital asset space and the NASDAQ. They all have said that the digital asset space is the greatest trade in the history of finance. And I would imagine since most of us have a limited amount of dirty, nasty fiat to allocate, I don't know about an S&P 500. I don't know. If 10% should be there. I don't know. If we're all, and the vast majority of people are trying to catch up and outdo this hurdle rate, and the reason why I share this with you guys is because I noticed today or yesterday that my other dude, that a guy I tend to tune into, was sharing yesterday or today this that I thought was very, very interesting. Now, in this video, in this presentation, Raoul Paul goes over something here. It is business cycle and asset allocation. And it is also global liquidity and debt cycles, global liquidity and debt cycles. And this is what my guy, Dennis, is talking about in reference to the M2 money supply. M as in Mike, 2 money supply.
Their rate policy, and they will cut.
The title of this is The Bitcoin Bull Run Ends in 15 Months, and here's why. So let me go to a couple of things here where he got the revelation that it was not about the Bitcoin halving, that it was more about the business cycle and the global liquidity. But he just put this out a day or so ago, yesterday or today. I can't remember which one. All right, let's find it. Typical Bitcoin cycles based on having Bitcoin bull cycle versus the M2 money supply. Let's just take a listen to that. Bitcoin bull cycles versus M2 money supply.
We need to go deeper and look at the actual drivers of these liquidity.
Oh, and this is a really, really good point here. He says something about the days in the cycle. It's really, really fascinating here, this chart. Let me see if I can make this chart bigger, because I think this ties into exactly what Raoul's 90 and 10 thing is about. Think about this for a second. We're going to try to add these days up. Yeah, we're going to try. All right, so he's talking about the halvings here. And he's talking about the cycle and Bitcoin during these things here. So let me I want you to look at these days and we'll try to add them up, but let me see if I can't move this.
Liquidity events, and that is not Bitcoin having a look.
So why is it not letting me move that? I don't know. Hold on. But anyway, so no, I want to be able to move that back just a little bit. Let's go right there. Okay, now I can make it big so you guys can see it. But you notice the days here, 365 days bullish, 2012 to here, okay? And then 525 sideways. I just want to add those numbers up for a second and then ask you this question. 525 plus 365. That's a year. 890 days of bullish or sideways, and this is Bitcoin. (2012 to 2015). 890 days, sideways or bullish. I just got a question for you. And we're going to go over each numbers. I just got a question for you. If 890 days from 2012 to 2015 out of whatever that number is, let me add all three. Let me add all three numbers. So we got 890 plus 427. 1,317. 890 is bullish or sideways. Which asset in the asset class is doing better? The bullish days and the sideways days. Remember that little alt season, it's this little tiny little window we got for that little alt run where there's outperforming Bitcoin. These are years. These are years. Which to me, it speaks to the whole 90 and 10 thing. To me. But anyway, take a listen. You need something?
And try to make them work. And yes, like we know the bull run is coming in the next like year to 18 months, but that's about it. You can't do much more analysis on that. Instead, we need to go deeper and look at the actual drivers of these liquidity events. And that is not Bitcoin halving alone. So take a look at a couple charts I want to show you.
All right. So that I share that's 890 bullish and sideways from the 2012 run. Then it's the next halving, 2016 halving, right? Well, I don't want that in the way. I need to get rid of those days. Okay. Right. So think about the 2016 halving. Look at the amount of days that are bullish and sideways. And the reason why I bring these up is having the assets that are going to be performing the best 85 to 90% of the time, of the years. Yeah, right? Do you understand? Bullish, for me, I just add up all years and then I add up the bullish and the sideways. Which asset is going to be performing the best during that time frame? And then you got a little alt season thing. If you check the cycles, got a little window of the crazy stuff. It's just a little thing. So in terms of maintaining the value of your portfolio, maintaining and growing the value of the portfolio, doesn't it feel like you got to be up there? We all know that we keep using the phrase Bitcoin leads the charge and Bitcoin's this and everything. If that's the case, then why would we be 95% of the time overweighted in the other direction, in the other assets? Overweighted most of the time in the other assets. That's why the portfolio is crap, in my opinion, because we're overweighted in the wrong assets most of the time. Because remember, the year-over-year return is still going on. This is years. So in 2012, it was over 100% year on year for Bitcoin. It didn't end, 100% didn't end until the 2024 thing. and it's now roughly 50%. So year over year, 100%, year over year, 100%, year over year, 100%. On Bitcoin, not on the other things. Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum just moved out of the 100% this year. 70 to 80% now. Do you understand? It just helps you, I think, to understand.
We need to go deeper and look at the actual drivers of these liquidity events. And that is not Bitcoin halving alone. So take a look at a couple charts I want to show you here. Number one is the Bitcoin chart overlaid over the M2 money supply chart. This is the what the M2 global supply is, this blue line. This is the total amount of cash that's across the top 5 central banks in the world. So here we have the US Fed, the European Central Bank, the Great Britain monetary policy maker, whatever the name is, their British Central Bank. We have the Chinese Central Bank, and then we have the Bank of Japan, the Japan Central Bank. With all of their money supply combined together, you have this chart. And when you overlay the price of Bitcoin with this chart, you get something very interesting. Notice how these two are super heavily correlated. You see, M2 global supply drops in 2014 to 2015. Bitcoin was in a bear market. Right when the blue line started to take up, the M2 money supply, Bitcoin started to go on its run. And in fact, look at how closely correlated these two metrics are from 2015 to 2017. This perfectly explains why we had an extended cycle on Bitcoin from 2015 to 2017. It wasn't because like, oh, you know, Bitcoin was early in its adoption or like whatever. This is real. And then when you look at the last Bitcoin cycle in 2020, the turnaround point that kicked off the Bitcoin rally into exponential growth was also very clear. So you see right here, if we can zoom into 2020, right here, notice how the M2 global money supply had a sharp turn, right? So it dropped very sharp and then quickly started to bounce. What was this event? This was when March 2020, pandemic was officially confirmed, and the US Federal Reserve dropped interest rates, their target interest rate from 2% to 0%. And what that does is they effectively have to turn on the money printer and inflate the M2 global supply. And that's why this blue metric line started to go ballistic, uptrend aggressively. And right at that week, Bitcoin's price started to go ballistic at the same time. And you see the two pretty much topped out around the same period as well in February 2022. Even in the bear market, right? Like early bear market, they were so closely correlated here. So this was the first chart that is so interesting that I have found, which, you know, comparing this chart with these cycles, which one is more indicative of the difference in Bitcoin's last 3 cycles? Well, the Bitcoin halving cycle doesn't tell us anything. It only tells us one date, and then you just try to extrapolate based on previous cycle length. This doesn't explain why the 2016 halving, right, just has a long, drawn-out bull run, and why the 2020 halving has this like COVID crash event somehow happened magically, you know, just before the Bitcoin halving, and then Bitcoin has this correction and then like has a sharp bull run. Why did that happen? People just say that, oh, it happened because like, you know, right around the Bitcoin halving event, Bitcoin drops in price, and then it rises sharply. And it's just because. When you look at the actual M2 money supply, this is all explained perfectly. So this is number one. And in order to treat this as a signal, two things you need to understand. Number one, when does Bitcoin actually top out in its each of its bull run? We need to look at the M2 global money supply growth year over year. This is the chart that you see on the thumbnail of this video. So let's take out the blue metric line. This is the absolute value of the M2 global money supply. Instead, let's look at the M2 growth. So this measures how quickly the M2 money supply is growing year over year. And you notice when the M2 growth year over year tops out and the money supply growth starts to dwindle and it starts to slow down, usually that's when Bitcoin tops out.
Oh, thank you.
This happened in May to June 2024.
I'll eat later.
It happened in February 2018, basically the exact top of the Bitcoin top. And then it happened at the first top of the last cycle in March 2021. And you see also this explains why we had an extended Bitcoin bull run from 2015 to 2017. It lasted for 2 years because the M2 money supply kept growing. It had a local top right here, but then it bounced back and started to grow faster. And because of that, Bitcoin continued to rally and had a second phase of the bull run in 2017. So with that said, how do we use this? Well, as long as we can get, if we can zoom in here, as long as we can get the M2 money supply year over year here to continue to grow, this green area line here to continue to grow, most likely Bitcoin will make new highs along with that and rally in an uptrend because these two are heavily correlated. And even the timing of it is very correlated. You can't really use Bitcoin halving this way because that's only a one-time event. Instead, with a metric like this, you can actively monitor it. Now, how do we know if the M2 money supply will rise or grow faster or will it shrink? Very simple. The money supply, M2, is directly inversely correlated with the US interest rate target. So how does this work? Here, directly from Investopedia, the federal funds rate, this is the rate, the target rate that Jerome Powell and all of their policymakers at the FOMC and the Federal Reserve, this is, when they say cut rates, this is the rate that they want to cut, the federal funds rate. Now, what is it and how is it determined? Well, take a look at here. The FOMC can't mandate a particular federal funds rate. Instead, the Federal Reserve System can adjust the money supply so that interest rates will move toward the target rate.
And this is what Raoul Paul, if you're listening to, if you're getting to know the players in the game as part of your strategy to know the game, you know that he teaches this all the time. All the time. That very statement there, all the time. He teaches that. How is it that he knows it? He's a global macro trader. He's been a macro investor and trader for 35 years. This is why it's so important to know your teachers. You can't just go by some post on X or some interview or an AMA where he's not high on your crypto that you hold. You got to get to know the player. Right? The idea is, do you want to know the big picture or just your picture? I would argue, in order to make your picture better, you have to know the bigger picture. Right? You have to know the bigger picture. This is what these guys do. They share the bigger picture. Especially Ron Paul. Or you can listen to this.
Round to other emerging projects. Oh, Raul, you were doing so well. You were doing so well. Oh boy. Listen to this. Fred Rispoli shoots back here. He says, I thoroughly enjoy Raul Powell, and until shown otherwise, consider him authentic and well-meaning. I respectfully disagree with him on XRP, but that thesis is reasonable and has not been proven wrong yet. I do agree there exists old coins, cough EOS, whose days are long past. Take a listen to this clip from Raul Powell.
XRP, it's like from 2 bull markets ago. You might be right, you might love it forever. Just please move to whatever the strong momentum is. I know there's that fear in your head is this.
By the way, unlike Jungle, this is who shared the whole clip. This is not the full clip of what Raul Paul said, just to let you know.
Time it'll be the big one. You'll get plenty of notification, you get back in, but don't miss the bull market because you're in a narrative of past. And the communities are huge. I don't want to get attacked by people online for this, but I just feel like you're being done a disservice by being in a cult. Our job is to be mercenaries. We're in the job to make money, not to be a cult. Cults don't make money except for the leaders. So I know it hurts people when I say this. Cardano, XRP, there's a whole bunch of these. I really hope you're right. But hope is not an investment. XRP.
Hope is not an investment strategy. I get that. And listen, I own a wide array of tokens in my.
And again, I own a wide array of tokens doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything if they're the wrong freaking tokens. It doesn't mean, I keep hearing these people, I own a bunch of stuff. What does that mean? The numbers are the numbers. The year-over-year return on assets are what they are. We didn't come up with them. The blockchains have proven themselves or not, or have not proven themselves. You know, listen, I own a wide array of assets. So what? So what?
Portfolio. I think all of you know that. And I know a lot of you do too. And then I know some people that are just like, I got XRP. That's what I have. But here's the thing. I appreciate and I understand he's coming from a good place. But the moment that he names XRP and Cardano, it's really, that's where it becomes a problem, right? Because it's like, look, I interviewed Raul Powell. I have a great respect for him. I really do appreciate his macro insights. But the truth is he's speaking in a condescending manner, thinking that he's helping people, and much like a liberal would speak to people, that only he has the answers and he's trying to save you from your.
Trying to save you from yourself. This is from the same guy. Again, I don't have to go over the same thing again, do I? Do I have to go over the assholes and the culture, the cancel culture and the dipshits and the liars and the bottom feeders? Is that not condescending? I bring this up because, you know, I've been blessed to have really awesome people in my life sharing a thing or two. Blessed to have been around billionaires in respective industries, be able to learn from, I mean, literally directly learn from, right? Right? I think to myself, and one of the lessons, many lessons, just like Robert Kiyosaki said, is know your teachers. I learned that from a very early age. My guy, Jeff, used to say to me all the time, know the game you're in, and more importantly, know the players in the game. Know them. Right? Know them. Know the players in the game. The global macro investor, the most successful thing ever. And by far. Again, the ultra high net worth and high net worth individuals go to him. Knowing that is part of knowing the player. What if I didn't know that? What if I only knew about him holding Solana? What if I only knew about him being some guy who posts on X? What if I don't know the player? RealVision.com, Real Vision Crypto, he's built this massive, massive thing for us. He's part of the 1%. I always say there 99% of the masses aren't winning. There's a 1%. And of the 1%, 90 to 95% of them are not willing to share. Dan Tapiero is sharing because of Raul Paul. He's sharing because of Raul Paul. He's willing to hop on these interviews and share his 30 plus years as a macro guy because of Raul Paul. And the XRP YouTubers throwing shade at him and throwing shade at Michael Saylor, who all the financial people said he made the ballsiest call ever, and he got it right. And is winning because of that ballsy call. Raul Paul, Gary Cardone recognized he was up against the wall with that company. He was losing. It's hard to compete against the big boy. He was losing. So he had to do something. And he made a call, like successful business owners and CEOs tend to do, and he got it right. Yet the XRP YouTuber community was throwing shade at Michael Saylor. Guess why? Oh, because he wasn't a fan of their asset. And he's still not a fan of any other asset. Because you gotta know the player. I'm not saying that he's going to be right. What I'm saying is, in order to gain a better perspective for your portfolio, you got to know the player. You can't just take one excerpt from some video. You got to know the player. Massively important, because that's part of knowing the game that you're in. You get 15 to 20 minutes of this guy 2 or 3 times a day. Super cycle, XRP is equals an SDR, Ripple. In order to make your picture better, you're going to need the bigger picture. You're going to need the bigger picture. I'm going to share a short here. It's going to help too figure something out. This is 2 hours and 15 minutes. He's got a hugely successful YouTube channel. It's Raul Paul, the Journeyman. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. I share with you that this was the presentation that he did to just recently to family offices. He didn't have to share that with us. He did not have to. He could have just shared this with his subscribers who paid thousands of dollars in this Real Vision thing, not just in his global macro one. He could have kept that to himself. And this is the dude that you want to throw shade on because he made a call about an asset that you hold. United States government is making a call about the assets that you hold. I don't see you taken to the streets, marching in front of anywhere in DC. We got to, I welcome you guys to go on the journey of becoming a sophisticated investor. That's a journey. Take a listen to this. I thought this was interesting coming from Mark Yusko.
So it's going to be trillions and $700 trillion of assets. Well, why does that matter? Well, the trust industry takes about 6 to 8% of global GDP to make it work. Lawyers' fees, accountants' fees, auditing fees, bank fees, settlement fees, all kinds of fees. And the bankers love those fees because that's their revenues. So why do they hate Bitcoin? Why do they hate Ethereum? Why do they hate XRP? Because it displaces the need for trust. Because we have truth. And that truth in a decentralized world running on computers that manage themselves through block rewards, we don't need the banking system anymore. So it's going to be trillions and trillions, $700 trillion of assets. Well, why does that matter?
That's the fight. 6 to 8% of global GDP. That's the fight that the fintech company out of San Francisco is having to deal with. Jungle says if it pisses you off, probably a little truth in it, right? And the idea is, we're on a journey, become a sophisticated investor. We got to be able to take in some negative. We can't take in a little negative. We can't take a little someone else not agreeing with our decision to hold this particular asset. We can't take that. We can't take that in and move forward. Come on. Sheila says, I didn't hear anything condescending on Raoul Paul. He's a commentator. He's giving his opinion on his knowledge and on his own channel. It's exactly what he did. He also said, I hope that you're right. I hope that you're right. I implore you not to miss it, right? I bring that all up to say, you have to know your teacher. If you're you have to know the game that you're in, which involves knowing the teachers. Dennis from the Virtual Bacon YouTube channel, I thought it was interesting that he had gotten to this point where Raoul Paul had been sharing since May. And actually early in that, he shared it with all of us in May. He shared it with the community inside of Real Vision before that. Continues to share the bigger picture. Macro investor or XRP YouTubers, you have to know the game you're in. Or else it's going to be trouble, right? It's going to be trouble. This is not, again, I don't know, is having a diversified portfolio in the digital asset space been working for you? I just always found it fascinating that Warren Buffett was like, no, you go heavy in a few. And you have to know those few inside and out. and he talked about, Raul Paul talked about here, concentrated within the asset class that is winning. Concentrated bet within the asset class that's winning. It's NASDAQ, and it's the digital asset space, and the digital asset space is slamming the NASDAQ. But the NASDAQ is out. It is outpacing that 12%. But the digital asset space is slamming the NASDAQ, which means it's really, really slamming everything else. The numbers on the year-over-year return on assets. I mean, it's not my number. It's not his number. It's the number. This kind of is what it is. Everyone has to make their own decision, but this is some food for thought for you to get to where you are. Diversified portfolio could be EOS, IOTA. It could be name a privacy coin. It could be stuff that is not in the signal currently in the digital asset space. The signal in the digital asset space is Bitcoin, meme coins, AI, slant gaming, and RWAs. That's the signal. The rest of it, one might argue, is just noise. It's something to consider for ponder for sure. Joseph said the total crypto market cap is projected to from 2 trillion to 10 or 13 trillion by the end of 2025. So the whole market cap will go up, but most of the alts will drop 90%. Joseph said, I actually learned portfolio rotation from Dennis. Dennis is a smart guy. Does Dennis get every call right? No. Every asset choice right? No. But there's a reason why you don't get all the assets right. There's an explanation. Right? There's an explanation to it all. Again, fam. So there it is. Listen, know your players. Know the game that you're in. Massively important. Massively important. It doesn't matter to me that his vast majority of crypto, 90%, 85, 90% is in Solana. It doesn't matter to me. Right? It doesn't matter to me. And the other 10% is essentially digital art, and he owns a few meme coins. I think he said Bonk and Doge because Elon might do something, that kind of deal. Right? The numbers are the numbers. Year-over-year return essentially for Solana is 250 to 300%, 200 to 250%. Those are the numbers. We shared them with you on Into the Cryptoverse. Not telling you to get Solana. What I'm suggesting to you is the number. Do you have a way of evaluating, and are you taking advantage of things like year-over-year return? Because I know people like high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals are massively interested in that 40 to 50% year-over-year return in the asset class that has grown by 20 million%. So they want to be in that asset class with the least amount of risk, with the asset performing the best on a year-over-year return on their money. That asset happens to be Bitcoin. And others are taking a small percentage into Ethereum. And others are taking a small percentage into Solana. The reason why Raul can go all in on one, because he had 2 experiences and all in, and he won. And he timed both the bottom and, he missed one of the tops. He timed Bitcoin, got the 10x, but he missed the other 10x. But he got Ethereum, and he got all of the Ethereum one. He's a trader. He's been trading He's got charts, he's got access, he's got resources. And since we don't, we have to gather as much as we can from people like that who have, in my opinion, who have the access. What do you think he just knows about Solana because what he's hearing on X? Do you think that he knows about Solana because what he's hearing on X and watching on YouTube? Or do you think he has access? Why did he make that play? Where his average cost base is whatever, $17. You think it was just the chart? Do you think it was just the chart? Like the YouTuber said. Until you're making presentations to family offices, I would just keep quiet. Right? Know the game you're in, fam. Part of that is knowing the players in the game. It's hugely important. Hugely important. Hugely important. Yosef says exactly 100% see, it's just noise. They're there to confuse you. All projects don't do well, even though it's a good project. 1000%. All projects don't do well, even though it's a good project. Even though there's great technology behind something, that doesn't mean it's going to perform well. Doesn't mean it's going to perform well in the market. Joseph says, Solana hasn't proven to me yet. It just came back. It has to go through the bull and bear market to see how it holds up. And one could make a valid argument that their timing was good, right? Didn't they launch in 2020? And so we kind of, I guess part of 2022 and 2023 was not great. That was kind of a bear market. But the real test is going to be, and Yosef, you're right, the real test is going to be in 2026 and 2027. That's the real test for Solana. That's the real test. What's going on, Property Rich? So, any case, there it is, fam. I wanted to share that with you guys. Flare Network's making some big moves. Another integration, Polyhedra ZK Bridge, fascinating. I'm excited about the flywheel economy going on in Flare. Really, really excited about that. And it's an opportunity to take advantage to what's being given. Flare drops are being given to the community for active participation. And so are emissions out there available. And this current thing going on right now is only 500 million out of 20 billion that are going to be part of emissions. 500 million out of 20 billion. Right? So for me, the big test with Solana is going to be obviously Fire Dancer, getting that going. They need another client for sure. But I like what they got going on. I like the projects. They got 4 or 5 projects with 100 million or more in TVL or more in TVL. If not, yeah, I think it's 100 million or more. That's right. That's important. That just shows adoption of the chain. Hugely important. But the real test is going to be 26, 27. What is it going to look like? How are they going to be able to retain attention, keep people active on that blockchain? Are they going to continue the synergy, which appears as a nice synergy between Marinade and MarginFi and Camino and Drift Protocol and Jupiter Exchange? It feels like there's a nice synergy there. Will they be able to keep it and maintain it? So again, just got to know your players. Massively important to know your players for sure. And I'm sharing with you the guys that I find valuable and who I tune into to give you some suggestions. You know, just kind of give you some suggestions. I listened to Mark Yusko yesterday with the Wolf of Wall Street guy. I'm just trying to gather it in, so that I can kind of come to my own conclusion. And because I listened to that video, this video I just shared with you in a short showed up in my feed because I listened to that, 30-minute segment with Wolf of Wall Street. That's what that 6 to 8% of global GDP that's around quote unquote trust. This is what people are fighting with, especially Ripple. And it's important to know it. You don't have to run away because of it, but it's important to know so you don't get frustrated. Yoso said it's not many ecos that you can ride the bear market. FLR seems like the one to be in. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they were, building in 22 and 23, coming to fruition with some stuff in 2024, but we're, this is a bull run, right? This is a bull run. It's just a lot of sideways movement, but we're in a bull. It's going to be interesting to see the drops end in 2026. To see how they're going to complement the drops ending in 2026 with the rest of those emissions of that 20 billion FLR. It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to work. Early participation, in my opinion, is advantageous. Early on SparkDex, early on Kinetic, early on Scepter, I think is important. Gnosis, I've been there I think I've been only there in testing. I don't know if I've even done anything liquidity-wise there. If it was a small amount. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you're talking about 26 and 27. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's going to be a big test. It's going to be a big test. And for me, 2026, there's no way I'm not actively participating in both Solana and in Flare. There's no way. There's no way I'm not participating there. And we're going to have to see what the XRPL comes up with. We got to see what they come up with. I've been saying that on the channel. When liquidity incentive event. 8 cents, is that 8 cents for FLR Property Rich or for Songbird? Was that 8 cents for Songbird or FLR? But in any case, yeah. And for me, it's the passive income, being able to create the passive income. That's why I do DeFi, creating a passive income. And again, when you go look at a liquidity pair, the first criteria we talk about in the Patreon is the assets. The assets. In the liquidity pair, are you good with being 100% in one or the other? Are you good with being 100% in both of those? If you're not, then you're going down the risk curve. Just understand that that's what you're doing. You're going down the risk curve, and you're going down the risk curve that you think the ABC token and the platform that created it is going to do something in the future. You're going down the risk curve. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. I'm saying you're going down the risk curve. If you got FLR and you got a stable coin, for example, are you going down a risk curve? I mean, you got to make that decision yourself. Are you good with holding FLR long term? I know you are with the stablecoin. Are you good with holding FLR long term? Then you got to look at the other assets and say, am I good with those? What do they solve? What do they do? What are they up to? What they got going on? First criteria, just know the assets, right? So, and we're going to be getting emissions in this asset, in that FLR. And you're of the mindset and belief that they have a great shot of being the blockchain for data. If you're in that mindset and you're in that thing, you understand? Yosef, imagine dropping 50K, says Joseph, in the Flare ecosystem in 2025 and riding it until the next bull cycle. That will be a nice passive income. To me, this is what they're setting up. To me, this is what they're setting up, this economy. Just you look at it and you just see it. I mean, to me, you take your 4 cents, your 3.5x. I'm, you know. He also says we can stake and earn Bitcoin or ETH or FLR. Are you saying KII and Jewel? Property Rich says, I'm at the start listening to Raul Paul and him talking about GMI. He only wants to talk his book. I would take what he says, 75% of it with a piece of crap. Yeah, okay. I disagree with you, but I mean, that's cool. What I would do is listen to the people that are listening to him. Like Dan Tapiero, Anthony Scaramucci, who's the other guy? Who was the early, he had a platform like Grayscale. My God, I can't remember his name. I think it's like Paul. What's his name? But he was like an early Grayscale. He wasn't Grayscale, but he had a platform like Grayscale. I can't remember his name. Those dudes are listening to Raul Paul. Right? You have to know the player. If family offices which cater to high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals are bringing him in for guidance, he's got to be doing something right. And by the way, oh yeah, you misspelled it. Yeah, KI. Yeah. And by the way, you can hang out on Real Vision for free for forever and get all that stuff, most of that stuff, and then make a decision to level up. For me, it's an investment. It's an investment in leveling up. You got to be willing to invest in yourself. So you can hang out there for free and see if that stuff is of value to you. For me, it's massively valuable. Just learning about the business cycle and global liquidity, just learning that alone Who else is teaching it? I mean, who else is teaching it? Why is Robert Kiyosaki saying the same thing as Raoul Paul? Why is Gary Cardone saying the same thing as Robert Kiyosaki? Why are they both saying the same thing that Raoul Paul says? Are they all wrong and the XRP YouTubers right? And just because you're smart, it's smart to follow and learn from wealthy people, yeah, doesn't mean that they get everything right. They just get enough things right to be smart and wealthy. The dude flat out says 90% of your stuff in Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. The guy who's learning from him says maybe Solana, but it's Bitcoin and ETH with 90%. Can't you take both those perspectives? You got another person saying all BTC, and that's Gary Cardone. Can't you take those three perspectives and kind of come to your own conclusion? And then take, what are the things that they're all saying that is about the same thing? Okay, I'll take that one. Now, why is Gary only BTC and not BTC and ETH like Kiyosaki and Dan Tapir? Why is that? Okay, let me learn. Let me figure out why that is. Okay, cool. This is what he thinks. This is how he's thinking. This is what I say. Cool. I still do Bitcoin, ETH, Maker, and Solana every time, every chance I get. That's what I do. And I readjusted my overweighted portfolio, just adjusted it. It was weighted one direction. I readjusted it. I still own the other stuff. It's just weighted. What I believe personally to be correct. I believe on the 90% and 10%. That's where I am. I'm going back to the thing that we used to talk about in crypto all the time. The reason why we're owning these altcoins is to get more Bitcoin. I'm going back to that. Going back to that until one proves itself out and we can look at a chart for 2 or 3 years and say, oh, wow, look at that year-over-year return for just holding it. Oh, wow. Look at that year-over-year return for just holding it. That includes the bear market. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, Jungle. I've seen that. What's up with this? Jungle says, what's up with this Maker rebrand? You see this? Oh, yeah. Yeah, my guy Taiki turned me on to that a few months back. Yeah. It looks like they're just evolving to the market. And I guess they felt a little bit of a dilemma with the whole DAI stablecoin thing. And they're adjusting. It's going to be interesting to see it because the numbers show a pretty decent 100% year-over-year return on a dollar cost average strategy. Crypto's in the building. What's going on, my friend? Yeah. Jungle says most will likely be 90-10 or 80-20 Bitcoin and Ethereum. Skycoin? What? What? Jungle says, I think we're getting 24K Skycoin for each maker. Where are you getting this, Jungle? I haven't seen any new names yet. Rafi said, I like how you said dilemma. Yeah. Where are you seeing this, Jungle? What's the Sky Coins? I've never heard of that. I know they were doing their thing. I'll DM you. Maker's going through a complete overhaul. Yeah, yeah. I knew about the overhaul. I didn't hear about any names of the tokens yet. I'll look for that DM for sure. I hope they don't mess up that year-over-year return that they were getting. Because it was you know, that was it was 3 figures. It was 100%. According to Into the Cryptoverse on a dollar cost average strategy. Which is what I kind of like it. I like the dollar cost. Yeah, yeah. I hope they don't mess it up, bro. Jungle says, I sure hope they don't mess it up. I like make it like it is. Yeah. It was interesting the move that they did. Because, you know, Aave, I think Aave is doing the same thing. But I remember reading the Medium article about Maker deciding to do this. It feels a little bit like Polkadot and these sub things, the sub this and the sub that. I'm just hoping it's going to be interesting to see my little 4-figure plays, just one time lump sum 4-figure plays, see how they play out. It's going to be interesting. I think I have 3 or 4 of those. It's going to be interesting to see. It was just kind of like a one play. Boom. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. Casper is one of them, man. CSPR is one of them. We'll see. We're going to see. We're going to know. Or is Tapiero going to be proven right? Or is Scaramucci going to be proven right? Or is Gary Cardone going to be proven right? Jungle says, I think the DAI stablecoin is being replaced by USDS. Yeah, because there were some issues with DAI in the stablecoin thing. Joseph says CSPR will wake up. Casper will wake up just like Solana did. I hope you're right, brother. I hope you're right. I went on a little bit of a gut from being inside the community. I made a gut play on that one. We'll see. We'll see. And I got a really odd, no, it wasn't 1,000. It was like 700, 800 play on a narrative. It's a narrative, Telegram bot narrative. We'll see. USDS, yeah, yeah. So hopefully this USDS will be able to get into this stablecoin thing, bro. You also said, "LOL, me too. I bought in not too long ago." Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I've been in CSPR for a minute, for a long time. So we're gonna see. We'll see if it wakes up. We'll see if it wakes up. And I don't even know if I bought high or low, but I just said, let me just put 1K here and just see. We'll see. Just taking a bet. It's very, very similar to what I did with Polygon and Matic. Very, very similar. I did that same thing. Now that turned out to a high 5-figure percentage win. I just got lucky with the timing on that one. So we'll see with CSPR. We'll see. Know your players, guys. Know the game you're in. Highly recommend it. Know the game you're in and know your players. You can't just listen to people on YouTube. You got to be able to do your own due diligence. Know these players. Get to know them. Get to understanding how they think and why they think. It's going to be hard listening to Pompliano. It's going to be hard. Okay? It's going to be hard. But you could do it. I got through it. And then went on to Yusko. I went through it. It's going to be hard, though. Oh, yeah. CKJ talked about Matic also. Yep. I mean, I looked at that thing at 0.004. And I'm like, 0.004. I'm like, and I forget what I just won. I didn't know if I just won on EGLD or if it was VeChain. I don't even remember. One of those things. And I just rotated it, man. Rotated some of it, rather. And my poor XLM. Put that damn thing on Celsius. See you later. Gone, toast. Thank God I didn't do that with Matt Tig. All right, fam. So there it is. There it is. I appreciate you guys checking in. It's been a really, really cool hang. For sure. Yosef, I appreciate you checking in, my guy. Chungalink, as always, I appreciate you checking in. Property Rich and Rafi, I appreciate you guys checking in. Know the game that you're in and know the players in the game. It'll help you tremendously in becoming a sophisticated investor. Crypto, thanks for checking in. Crypto. Who else checked in? Property Rich, my guy, thanks for checking in, brother. I appreciate you being here. Rick, thanks for hanging out. Triple G is in the building. Appreciate you checking in. Keyless, the lady of crypto, I appreciate you checking in. Pookie, the blue wrenches are here. Alex E, my guy, I appreciate you guys checking in. For sure. Barbie Taylor, I missed you checking in. Smash those likes for Siege. There you go. There you go. Oh, the Muskegon Aristocrat checked in. Also, I missed him checking in. Appreciate you checking in, bro. Hydro, as always, appreciate you checking in. XRP Vampire, what's up, brother? Appreciate you checking in. Rafi, Goost was first. Appreciate you guys checking in. Listen, do me a favor and hit that like button on the way out. If you didn't get a chance to do so on the way in, that'd be really, really awesome. We always like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. And if you happen to be listening to and watching the Crypto Siege and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing to the channel if you've been enjoying those hangouts. You can just hit that button right now. We got about 50% or so of people that are doing that, and we'd like to get that number to about 25%. So if you can hit that subscribe button right now, that would be really, really awesome. I'm going to end this. Don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.